Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is directed by Wes Ball, and it stars Owen Teague, Freya Allen, and Kevin Durand. And in the fourth entry of the Planet of the Apes franchise, several years after Caesar's reign, apes have now taken over the Earth, but one young ape begins to ponder the question on a harrowing journey. Can apes and humans really live together? Now, Planet of the Apes, I'll be honest, I've not seen any of the older ones. I really do need to soon, especially the original. But I have seen the more recent ones, the trilogy, and I love that trilogy. I think that trilogy is amazing. One of the best modern trilogies, and one of the most underrated trilogies of all time. Like, you don't really see many people talk about them in like these best trilogies of all time lists or anything like that. People respect them and they say that they do like them, but you never really get that talk about how great they are. I thought War for the Planet of the Apes was the best one, a brilliant conclusion. So when I heard we were getting a new trilogy in this franchise, I was quite cynical. I was like, really? Are we really like lacking ideas now? Do we really need to have more films in this? But then I saw who was directing it, Wes Ball. If you don't know, he directed the Maze Runner movies, a trilogy which I actually quite like. I think those movies are quite underrated. And I think Planet of the Apes is kind of up his alley. Like, the tone of it, the setting, the visuals. I think it's pretty much made for him. So I was optimistic. And I went into the cinema the other day, sat down, ready to be either disappointed or surprised. And I am so surprised to say that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, while it's not my favourite, in fact I think it's probably my least favourite in the new franchise, it's still a great movie. What I really appreciate is that the movie's not doing what it did before, and it's not relying on past things as much to keep you engaged. It's all original characters here. We have no like old characters or anything like that. The only thing that's really in here from the old movies is Caesar's legacy. But even then, they mess around with that and introduce new things about it. The movie manages to introduce new questions and concepts which are so interesting. I love the idea of this planet now run by apes and all these different factions seeing Caesar as a god but twisting his messages and seeing him in a certain way. It's like gods in the modern world, you know. People see gods in different ways and they'll follow that and they'll keep to that belief. That's how they view Caesar. And I thought that was such an interesting idea. And I think they used that idea really well in this film. And it questions the morality and themes of the first movie. But not in a way where it's looking down on like, no. It's questioning like the little nitpicks of it, like, can it work? Can it not? And I just think that was a really good idea. And it made for just some amazing conflicts here. But I think where this movie really shines is the characters. Our new protagonist, Noah, he's a really likeable person. I say person, he's an ape. Yeah, he's really likeable. You know, he's relatable. He just wants to impress his family, his father, his mother. Show that he can be the best ape that he can be. I think we can all relate to that. But what I think was very different about him, and I think that was quite unique, was that he's a protagonist that doesn't like fight back. If anything, he's getting beaten up a lot in this film. Like, punched down, kicked in the chest, thrown to walls, everything. Like, this guy cannot catch a break. But he doesn't hit back. If anything, he uses his intelligence, his wit, and his brain to evade the enemies and defeat them in smart ways. And I think that was just a really good way of developing him, showing like, yeah, he's gained bravery and he's smart while doing it. But maybe in like the later films they'll grow him up so he can be like more violent and shows like he can do well in battles. Maybe, but we'll see. But I thought that was just a really good way of portraying the character. We also get another character called Raka, and I loved him. He's just a really lovable guy, you know. He's kind to everyone, he sees humans and apes alike, he's funny, he shares his wisdom, he's humble. He's just a lovable character, you get behind him immediately. I will say though I didn't like the decisions with him. Something happens to him, a change which I didn't really like. I thought it was a bit dumb in some parts. I feel they could have done it a lot better. But who knows, we'll see what happens in the next movies. But the standout character here was the villain, Proximus Caesar.
What a wonderful day!
First of all, that name sounds absolutely badass. I want a name like that. But his presence is felt the moment he appears on screen. And he's not in the film for like the first half of the movie. He appears like halfway through, and even then he doesn't really get that much screen time. But every scene he's in, he makes an impact. He's egotistical, he's over the top, he's, oh my word, he's controlling, fierce. He's such a good character, man. I absolutely love the villain in this. Unfortunately, there were a few characters that I didn't really like. For one, the human character, May. She has a motivation and a goal. And the motivation and goal is fine, you know, it's understandable. But compared to like other characters, it felt very flat. That's what it was. Like, they'll probably do more with her in the next movies. But it just felt like she was an afterthought at times. Like, May and Noah have like this conflict near the end of the movie, which could be interesting. But they never really do anything with it. Maybe they're saving it for the next movies, we'll see. But she just kind of felt like the afterthought a lot of this movie. And I think when we were focusing on the human side of things, this movie kind of slowed down and got a bit sluggish. Which is weird because usually I like the human stuff in the Planet of the Apes films. But not this one. And that was a real shame, unfortunately. We also get these two characters who are the bestest friends with Noah. They love each other, they're great friends, they work together. And it's established the very first scene of the movie. But they're not in the movie for like a large chunk of it. So we never really get to see them bond anymore. So the relationship just wasn't really that engaging. So you find it really hard to care at times. But technically, this film is brilliant. I don't think I need to say that the CGI looks great. I think you all know that. However, if I'm going to get in a little nitpick with this, it doesn't look as good as the previous trilogies. And that's because they use a lot of CGI other than the apes in this film. And you can tell, like with the original trilogy, they use like a lot of real environments and they blended in the CGI with that to make it look like more moist and realistic and looking like they're interacting with the environments. With this one, a lot of the backgrounds are green screen, blue screen, so it kind of took a lot of the realism out of the CGI. The direction of this film is very well done. Wes Ball has always had a really good style for me, especially in the action scenes. He has this rough, gritty sense when it comes to action, you know, large chase scenes, you know, the camera's moving all over the place. He does like all these long takes which are just really well done. And even in like the calmer scenes, you know, slow camera movements, just making you like get into the scene. It's just a really nicely directed movie. And some of the shots here, absolutely beautiful. The cinematography of like these large landscapes and these abandoned cities just really helmed home like, yeah, this planet has changed a lot. The film score isn't as good as Michael Giacchino's score from the original films, but it still was pretty good at times. There were a few moments where it felt a little silly. There's this, I don't want to get into spoilers again, but there's a bit on a bridge and there is just these weird notes that just felt very weird and out of place. But that's only like nitpicks. The editing was good as well, but I do think this movie was a bit slow paced and it kind of dragged on at times, but overall it was very competent editing. And finally, the performances here were all really good. Owen Teague as Noah, absolutely great. Played a really likeable guy. He performed the character well with all his movements and everything. Peter Macon as Raka. As I said, I love the character. And I think Peter did a great job of making the character even more likeable. He was very funny in the role. Brought off the intelligence side of the character really well. He was just a pleasure to watch on screen. Even though I didn't really like the character, I thought Freya Allen did a good job as May the human. But Kevin Durand as Proximus Caesar. I loved the villain in this. And my word, did he knock it out of the park in this film. Absolutely brilliant. Brought off this over-the-top villain, egotistical side of him really well. Absolutely amazing in this film. So overall, while I don't think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is as good as the original trilogy of these films, I still thought it was a really good installment to add to the franchise, which I thought didn't need anything more. It really surprised me. It challenges the morality and themes of the first three films while doing its own thing. And it's also topped off with really well defined characters, great performances, thrilling action scenes, amazing visuals, and the CGI looks amazing. This is a film that's meant to be seen in the cinema. I'd highly suggest you watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. For me, it's going to get a 7.5 out of 10. Really like this film. And guys, that is it for the end of this review. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But for me, franchise still strong. Sorry, that was terrible. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. I'll see you later.